Hey guys, here in the dog room with all my friends. Forgive the background noise if there is any. I wanted to give you a tutorial on how to use your remote collar for Sailor. I'm going to give you all the basics that you need right now. There may be some adjustments that you want to make down the road after she's become really familiar with it and you've been using it for a while. But we'll talk about that when the time comes, when we cross that bridge. So the first thing that I wanted to show you, you of course have the remote and you have the collar. I put the longer options on for contact points. They come in a shorter version and then this version. I put the longer version on because of her thick coat. So this is what she's been wearing and this is what I recommend you using. One little note, I think we talked about this, the collar and in fact this are both waterproof. That means that she can get wet, swim even, and she's not going to get shocked or anything like that. It's not that kind of technology. But be aware that if she gets really wet, if her coat gets wet, the signal may be dulled by her wet hair. So if she seems like she's ignoring the signal after she's been wet, you may need to turn it up a little bit. So just keep that in mind. First, try her at her normal number and then see what happens. So let's start at the beginning. I'm going to, I think, be able to just hold these up for you. So first things first, turning these things on. This has two buttons on the back. The larger button, it tells you, is the on and off. So all you're doing is you're pressing and holding down. Let me see if I can get that without a reflection. You're pressing and holding down until that brighter light comes on. So you can see now it's flashing 1D, which means it's set for one dog. You can set it for two, but that's what that 1D is. The 4 is the stim level, which is randomly sitting there. She is actually working at an 8 right now. And then the C means that it's set for continuous signal, which means that when you press the button for 10 seconds, it will give her the zit, 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 zit. At 10 seconds, it's a safety mechanism. It shuts off. So if she's far away and you haven't seen her yet, after about 10 seconds, you want to lift and start again. So just be aware of that. If you're holding it and you get to 15 seconds, the signal's gone off. So just lift and resume. So, okay, so right now, what this shows you is her level 8 on continuous, and that is where we want her. So at this point in time, working with me, I am locking that in. So by that I mean, if you turn this knob at the top, you can adjust the numbers, right? But because I know here at my house, she's gonna stay in an 8, I lock it in. I do that by pushing down on the knob, and when the number flashes, it's locked. So I can turn this thing all I want to, and the 8 doesn't change. Now, if I'm taking her to the beach, and I'm gonna let her off leash, and I'm not sure the 8's gonna be enough, what I might do is unlock it, hold it down, flashes, it jumps to another number, but then I can put it back on the 8. Let's see if I can do this backwards. There it is. I can put it on the 8, but I can also, if the excitement of the beach requires a higher number, I can roll it a little bit and turn her to a 9, 10, whatever. The nice thing about locking it is that if you're carrying it in your pocket, you can't accidentally roll it up. You can't accidentally change the number. So locking it is worthwhile if you feel confident that you're not going to have to change the number. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it back in since that's what we're using. So anything that you do with her right now, like this first weekend that you have her, probably going to be at an 8, but we'll talk more about that. If you take her on the boat, let her run, you might want to unlock it. Okay. So you have your stimulation level. It's on continuous, and that's where we want it. There is another setting that has an M, which means momentary, and that means that you push down and it just gives one zit. You can hold it all day, but it only does one. It's a momentary signal. So if you wanted to give her an ongoing signal, you'd have to do this all the time. You have no use for momentary. Don't even worry about it. We want you to stay on continuous now and forever. So don't even worry about that. The only thing that might change for you will be the stimulation level, the stim level. All right. let's talk about how we give the stim. Boom. Over here, you have a black and a red button on one side, and on the other side, you have a lone black button. This lone black button is vibrate. You're not using that. Ignore it. Now, there may come a time back at the home where I'll tell you we're going to use the vibration button to interrupt an unwanted behavior, but that is not today. So this may not be completely unused, but for recall, not at all. You are only using these two buttons. The black button is the one you use for standard work, right? You push the black button and you're stimulating an 8. You see this red light? You see this lighting up? That red light tells you the stim is on. In a minute, I'm going to show you what this does when you do it. So, stim is on. The red button is called a boost. And right now, the boost is set to be 5 above the norm. So let's say that she is hauling ass down the beach. You've given her the signal and called her to come back, and she seems to be totally ignoring you. If you push boost, it is set to jump up by 5. See how it goes to 13? It also does a continuous signal, so you can hold it there and she'll get the exact same signal just at a higher level. So right now, for the time being, we're going to leave that setting at a 5 higher. So anytime, even if let's say you're going to the beach, we're going to the beach, let's loosen the dial, let's unlock the number. We set it to a 10, or we try to. There it is. So we set it to a 10 because she needs a little more. Well, okay, she's running away. Booster, she's at a 15. Booster, she's at a 15. If I set my dial to 20, boost is going to be a 25, and so on. Now, down the road, when she is really, really acclimated to this, if you feel like it would be helpful to set the boost to a higher level so that it jumps like 10. She's on an 8, but then you boost her and she goes to 18. There are plenty of people who do that. But for now, we are always looking for the least necessary signal, the lowest possible signal. That is always our goal. So we don't want to just jump up high and we want to, during this early stages, we want to find our lowest possible number. All right? So I'm going to set her back to an 8 and lock it in, because eventually I'll put this collar on her. Flashes, and it's locked in. All good to go. Okay. Now we want to turn this baby on. This baby does not have an on-off switch. What it has, where the light is, right next to this light is a little red dot. You see it? That little red dot matches the little red dot that's on the vibration button side. Red dot, red dot. We touch these two things together. Wait, let me see if I can get this here. We touch these two things together and we turn on. See the green light? It's on. We touch them together. We turn off. Red light. So we turn on. Green light. Off. Red light. If this light is ever flashing white, it means you need to charge. So to turn this on, can't remember if I left it on or not. Get those two together, those two red buttons, and it's easier than I'm making it look. Okay, fool. There we go. Okay, so it's on. You can actually turn this on even if this is off. Just a little point of interest. Okay, so this baby's on. So let me show you when I give a signal, when I push this, see the red lights on both? That tells you the signal is on. If this thing ever is not flashing red and it flashes white, you know that it's time to charge. If I'm using this every day, I put it back on a charger every day. You could probably go 2 or 3 days, but I just don't want to find myself out and about and have it die. So there you go. You see that? So this brings me to another point. When we put this collar on, we want the flashing light. See the green telling me that it's charged? We want that flashing light to face out. If you have it this way, you don't have the reassurance of seeing that it's flashing green, it's got a charge, or you don't see the red light when you give a signal. So I always like to put the light forward facing. Now, I'd show you on her, but it's just so much easier to do it on me because I'm more compliant. When we put it on, we do not want it center. We want it low and to the side. If it's on the center, it'll hit her trachea and be very unnerving. If it's way too high, she won't feel it because the neck is so tough right there. So we're looking for sort of a low and to the side spot, just like that. On either side, we don't care, but low and to the side. Now, here's the part that's difficult. It's difficult for me, it's difficult for every human. You have got to make this collar tight, tighter than normal collars. The reason is that if it's too loose and it moves and one of those contact points isn't contacting, there is no signal whatsoever. So if she's moving around and you think you're giving her a signal and it's not touching her, she's not getting the signal. So you're at an 8 thinking, why isn't she responding? Why isn't she responding? You turn it up to a 10 or a 12 and then all of a sudden she gets the signal again, you scare the bejeebs out of her. So this has got to be plenty tight. You will see what it feels like when I send her home with it on, but you want to just barely be able to get 2 fingers underneath there when it's on. You put it on and you're going to be like, oh my God, it's too tight, I can't do it. And then I'm going to say to you, if you want to loosen it by 1 notch, do that. But if that collar moves at all on her neck when she starts running around, it's too loose. So go tight. I go through it every time I put a collar on. I put it on, I'm like, ooh, that's too tight. And I loosen it, and then I end up tightening it again. It is the one thing about these collars that is challenging in my mind. So off to the side, tight enough so that you can just get your 2 fingers under there. Okay? Light flashing out. So that is how we do it. On-off button. The MC button here is to switch it from momentary to continuous, so you don't really need to use that. So you're not really using the vibration button. You're using the black standard and then boost stem if you need to. And I think that's it. So if you get to a point where we decide that you want to change the boost, there's a great video I can send you, but let's not worry about that right now. So I think that was everything. If not, just hit me up. Okay? All right, see ya.